Good morning. Good morning. Get comfy, get settled in. We're going to be getting started in just a few minutes. Get your coffee, get your tea, maybe a protein shake if you too just came back from the gym. Just a few minutes. We'll be getting started. Morning, good morning. How are you all doing out there? Alexa, pause. Alexa, pause. Love when Alexa listens and doesn't listen. Well, again, good morning, everyone. We are going to jump on in. Just putting a little lotion on my hands to get started this morning. We're going to be talking about rest, breaks, and retreats. Let me go ahead and hit record. Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Z with Greater Self Vibes podcast. This morning, we will be jumping into our tea talks and exploring breaks, rest, and retreats. This morning, I had the lovely opportunity to go work out before I jumped on this tea talk. So I'm like, okay, let's see how this flow goes, see what it's looking like. Anyone out there this morning? Also went and worked out already and got it under your belt, feel free to drop an emoji in here. Also, we want to start off by checking in with what state of functioning are you in today? Are you functioning as an exister, a survivor, a thriver, or are you a G? Are you functioning in your greater self this morning? All are welcome. All are definitely worthy of being acknowledged. This morning, I'll be doing a protein shake. And of course, got my tea. I figured I can bust out this holiday mug since it's that time of the year, with some loose leaf tea that's just brewing away over here. So since you all are here and you are sharing your time with me, I greatly appreciate it. I'm wondering, after the holiday season, did you all have an opportunity to take a break or actually get some rest? And what that may look like. So 1, did you get any rest? 2, do you know how to rest or take a break in between being on vacation possibly, and or just in your regular routine week, do you schedule time to take rest? Most folks will work easily, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days out of the week. Some folks work 6 days out of the week. And there is a benefit to giving your body an opportunity to rest and recover. Hence, even if you go and work out, there is a huge, huge benefit in allowing your body the opportunity to recover from the work that you put in, so that the breaking down of muscles can actually be rebuilt back up and the muscles can grow stronger. If you look at your workflow and how you show up for your clients, for the people you care about, when you give, go, 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 there needs to be a period of time, and it doesn't need to be weeks every single day, like 1 day of work equals 10 weeks of rest. It could, if that's what you've created in your life. But if not, do consider, as much as you put out and you give to other people by showing up and just being present, there needs to be a reciprocity there. So if any of you are familiar with the law of reciprocity, that's you give, the world or universe gives back to you, God, whatever things you believe in. But when you're giving to other folks, there needs to be an energetic exchange that takes place to allow the consistent flow of energy to keep going. And it's not just draining from one source and never being rejuvenated back. A couple of different ways that reciprocity can take place is, the exchange between you and a person you provide services to. That's usually in a form of money. It could be bartering. It could be a direct exchange for services. So you provide a service, they provide a service. Maybe you do therapy, maybe you do energy healing, and I don't know, maybe they do your hair. Like, sounds like a win to me. And then there's a space of, while you may be giving and receiving, there is a benefit to taking a break from being in a space of needing to be on or off, for giving or receiving, because both do require you to show up. What does it look like throughout your weeks currently? If you just go through a regular Monday through Friday or Sunday to Saturday, when are you giving yourself an opportunity to rest? At what point in time are you allowing yourself the space to recover from, maybe you have some really awesome folks in your circle that are very giving to you, and like they allow you the opportunity to totally get fulfilled. But is there also a time where you take to just download, to decompress? For some, it may be hard to do, and it could be for lots of different reasons. There could be demands or needs on your family for you to show up and constantly be there. You may be in a position, especially folks in higher leadership positions or working with intense populations, where your presence is always needed. And then there's periods of time where you should be resting. But if you work, for instance, an on-call position, rest doesn't necessarily happen because you need to be alert enough in the event that there is an emergency and someone does need you. When you're in those types of positions, being able to secure rest may require that you actually remove yourself from the situations that you currently live in, like your regular routine, in order to experience the rest that will allow you to feel rejuvenated, may require removal from the situation. And that may be in the form of vacation or retreat. On vacation, and I can just tell you historically, when I grew up, when we would go on vacation, I didn't understand why I would always be so worn out afterwards. But we would go and road trip. I'm from Ohio, so we would road trip it to pretty much Tennessee or Florida all the time. Like, always. That was a spring break, summer, winter, like we were in one of those two places all the time. And we would road trip there. So that's already whatever it is. As a child, at least I didn't have to drive. As an adult, now I'm like, oh my gosh, it could have been even more taxing. And then we get there, and I promise you, every single day was nonstop packed with doing stuff. Like, chilling out was what? What is that? Why is that? And I realized that it comes from coming from a family where everybody works so hard, to the extent, historically, my mother always had multiple jobs. If you know me, you know I've always had multiple jobs, and it has taken getting up in age and having adult children and just noticing what that impact looked like and reflecting back on even my childhood vacations to see if I'm always on, why wouldn't I be exhausted and tired? If on my vacations, we were nonstop, back to back doing things, and we didn't actually vacation. We left like the day school would end, and we came back the night before school would end, literally at night. So we'd come back in and unpack stuff as much as, a child was actively able to do, which I would say we probably did a lot when I was a child. Unpack and pretty much get ready and go right back to school. So there was no time where there was a break, a decomposition. It was just, fortunately, we got to go do fun things that we didn't normally get to do. So that was awesome and exciting. We had experiences for sure, but we never actually just rested to the extent now when I go on vacations. If you ever go on a vacation with me, you're fully aware, I will be resting. There will be some breaking going on. I will be doing what's called absolutely nothing until I feel like I'm ready to re-engage again, so that I can actually experience just shutting down, letting my system rest. When you work in a really intense work field, like I said, if you're a mental health provider of any sort and you're in intensive services, then you immediately know what I'm talking about. If you do energy work for other people, you're a healer and you're providing those services, you realize you are taking on so many people's things just the same. And if you're in some other type of field where you are providing a service to other people, you recognize that you showing up allows the services to be provided. But aside from the services also being provided, you too have to have it in you to provide the services. If you are not in a position where you can schedule, for lack of better words, real breaks and real rest, and we won't even talk about like transitions today. We'll save that for Thursday. So Thursday will be about transitions. Just in case I forget, you all can totally remind me. There's a huge benefit in stepping away from your routine. That may be a staycation where you go stay somewhere that's pretty local. I would say local to me is like less than a 2-hour drive. And I only say that maybe because I'm in LA. And as you know, now I've always traveled since I was young. So a road trip was like, that's just what you do. And thanks to the pandemic, that's literally what you could do if you were seriously concerned about your safety, until people caught on, nobody's flying. We could have been safe, but we're neither here nor there. So just coming back into getting away. If you can't physically get away, or you're in a position where maybe financially it doesn't make sense to actually go stay somewhere else, but maybe you can schedule some time within your home that you can have time to yourself or a little bit of space. There are folks such as myself, and I'm definitely offering one December 18th, where you can do a retreat at home. So I would call it a day retreat. What that looks like, and retreats, vacations, I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but be intentional about which you do and why you're doing them so that you get what you're looking for out of it. If you're going on a vacation to have experiences, definitely schedule time to have experiences. But if you're going on vacation because you need a break, don't forget to schedule those things that you don't normally get to do that allow you to rest and be poured into. When you go to a retreat, typically the whole reason for going to a retreat is to retreat from your regular life, to have a legitimate, solid regrounding and just a re of everything, a reopening of you, which means you're going there and maybe dropping off some things, hearing some new ways to go about doing the work that you do, as well as being able to walk away feeling rejuvenated, refreshed, revived, all those words, realigned. You're clear on why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what that even looks like. On December 18th, I am offering your Brilliant Life Plan day retreat as the reclamation of you, to set you up for the greatest version of yourself for 2023, as well as closing out this year and not like saying, oh, well, the year's almost over, I don't have to do anything. No, we still have time. We can totally be embodying that greater version of ourselves and being a G right now. and getting super clear on how we want to structure next year. So things like rest, breaks, vacations, retreats become routine, and they can become so, and I'm not saying go spend like $1 million and go on all these retreats and then come back and do the exact same thing. What I am saying is take time away. Give yourself permission to be poured into, give yourself permission to do what some would say is nothing, but it's actively rejuvenating. It's actively realigning yourself when you're sitting still and holding space to explore what it is you're needing in the moment, how you can get clarity on it, and then creating a plan that will afford you the opportunity to move forward with the new things that are either clearer to you or things that you're recognizing you may be able to let go of. On December 18th, what we'll be looking at is actually going through a mind-body self-reclamation. So over the course of like that 4 to 5 hour day retreat, we'll be looking at what are some of the mental blocks that you currently have, and they may be around money, it may be around imposter syndrome, it can be whatever things are coming up for you, but we're going to put those out there and expose them so that we can really dig into how is it serving you, and if it's still serving you and works, keep it. If it's not, we're going to explore what we're going to drop off and what we'll be picking up as we come out of this retreat and setting our intentions for them. So having some guided meditation time so that you can really explore what that looks like. And we're going to be taking those guided meditations and creating, by the end of our retreat, what you'll walk away with is some clear affirmations that you'll be able to use to the end of this year and even setting your intentions for 2023. You'll be walking away with having experienced a yoga flow that embodies the things that we're choosing to take with us and releasing the things that were no longer serving us. You will be having the experience of what it's like to envision yourself in a space of being the greatest version of you and getting a really, really clear plan on how you're going to structure your time, your 24 hours, 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year, so that you can walk away feeling really good about knowing not only are you going to get some work in, you're going to have actual goals that you like to accomplish that align with your mind, body, and soul. And then you're going to have a plan on how you're going to use your time to actually be able to accomplish those goals. All in the midst of a nice kind of flow, smooth place where you're not rushed and crammed to figure everything out, but you definitely have the capacity to decompress. Take a deep breath and exhale it out. Actually move your body a little bit. And then even look at how you're going to go about showing up for the rest of 2022, what things you might be looking towards getting more information on, and then how you'll be starting off 2023 from a really clear space of, all right, I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. I know how I'd like to go about it. And I've set time aside to be able to take breaks as I'm accomplishing all these goals so that I'm able to keep showing up in the fullest, best version of me that I have available for each day. That feels like that may be a little bit. I'm just wondering from anyone that's out there and you're listening in this moment, would you say that historically you've definitely had the opportunity to schedule rest, breaks, and vacations in a way that's been beneficial to you? And I'm going to give it just a little bit for that delay. Also give myself an opportunity to indulge in my tea. And please, by all means, do not feel shy. Feel free to share your thoughts and concerns, or even questions that you may have about it. There might be something that's like maybe coming up for you and you're just not quite sure how you might want to incorporate that, but you know something has to give. Well, since we've still got a little bit of time, I think I'll give a little snippet into transitions and transitions in your time. So during your regular day, realistically, you have your to-do list, right? All these things that you're going to do, appointments you may have set, Maybe you use a planner, maybe you use just like your Google calendars to be able to determine when you have time and what you have available. As you're going through that, have you ever intentionally scheduled the time it will take to transition from one task to the next? If you haven't, and you are someone who finds themselves multitasking a lot, just notice how long it takes for you to engage in one activity and then switch and transition to the next. And I am not saying that you can't multitask ever again. What I am suggesting is that multitasking might not afford you the opportunities that you think it does to successfully complete things, and it can add an increase to you being worn out sooner, hence needing to take a break, a vacation, or a retreat. When you start looking at tasks from a space of, okay, I can complete this, and giving yourself a realistic amount of time, then it puts you in a space where you give yourself like anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes between things to actually move into a space of completing a task, closing it out, setting yourself up for the new thing that you'll be doing, and then actually moving into it being clear of what you were previously doing. So that may look like you designate a certain amount of time to do documentation if you're not doing collaborative or concurrent documentation. And then when you're finished, you actually finish. Even if you have more work to do, you've scheduled it for a different time, and you give yourself that grace to stop, close that activity out, and move into the next one, because there may be other things that you're needing to accomplish. But if you don't give yourself the space and time to do it, it makes it really hard to consistently experience a sense of completion, of satisfaction, or like you're doing things that make a difference. When you schedule yourself actual transition time, just like when you have clients back to back, there's a huge benefit to, if you don't go to the restroom in between, like just stopping, washing your hands, taking a quick deep breather break, like any of those things above can support you and being able to stay on a consistent schedule and to get a real picture of how long it really takes you to accomplish things, so you don't find yourself overbooking, overscheduling, overwhelmed, and just ultimately like struggling to show up and function. Not that you don't do great work, but there's always an added level of pressure that you find yourself needing to overcompensate for, which will typically mean you'll extend yourself beyond what you needed to compensate for. I don't want to say under preparing, but for not giving yourself permission to actually transition from one thing to the next. Just wondering, does any of this sound familiar? Who out there is like, oh my gosh, is she in my schedule, in my head? If you're just hearing some things that sound familiar, by all means, please just drop an emoji in the chats. Your favorite one, give me whatever one you like. Just letting me know that I know that you know that I know exactly what you're talking about, and how it's not effortless, but you definitely can tell the difference when you're in a flow versus when you are just trying to catch up and hold on. Probably more of a not existing, but a survival state for sure. Maybe you get to a point of existing where it becomes numb and dull. Once you start becoming a thriver, those types of days happen fewer and far between, because you're giving yourself ample time to actually accomplish the things that you're setting out for your schedule. When you become the greatest version of yourself, it becomes so effortless. It's literally like a flow. It's like you're floating along and life is just happening. And people are like, oh my gosh, how does she do it? Well, it took hard work. It took you giving yourself permission to really sit down and look at, what do I want to do? How do I want to do it? How can I do this in a time frame that makes sense based on my skills and abilities to do so? Am I willing to give myself the breaks, the vacations, the retreats, like so that I can actually transition from task to task on a daily basis, that each day I find time to rest and give myself time to recover and really wake up again, starting each day fresh with a clean slate, with the possibilities of having it be greater than the day before, or just the greatest that it can be for that day. So just wondering who else out there is maybe like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I'm here for it. I'd like to check that out and see how it goes. Maybe having the opportunity to attend the retreat that I believe until the end of this month, I am still offering a significant discount on it. And in other news, I am opening a Greater Therapist Vibes cohort. We'll be kicking off, I think, Thursday evening. We'll have like our kickoff call. And then Saturday, we'll be jumping straight into it. Believe it or not, those Black Friday deals are still happening right this minute. So if you haven't decided to bet on you, and I know it's called Greater Therapist Vibes, but imagine that whatever service you're providing, you are offering something that is supporting someone else in reaching and accomplishing another version of themselves. If you are in a space where you're like, something has got to give, and I just need it to make more sense, we are definitely going to be doing some intense work over that 5 weeks after our kickoff call. But for this particular round, I wanted to switch it up and do it a little different. Because we're in the holiday season, it's the end of the year, I wanted to be able to give you all the opportunity to get started on the process and then actually take a break to give you more time to implement, which lines right up with going into our retreat, where you can actually take the first 2 to 3 weeks and have yourself have time to really go through and put in the work. And then we'll take a break for the holidays and we'll come back the beginning of January and really solidify where we left off, setting you up for not only the opportunity to really take more advantage of the resources that are within the Greater Therapist Vibes, but also that you can take access of the folks that have come before you, the ones that are in your cohort, and more implementation time. What I realize is, yes, it is a pretty intense thing. And if you're like, I already don't have time, well, now you have more time because you can go through, you can review the info, you can ask the questions in the coaching calls, you can go back, still give yourself more time. And I would totally encourage you, if you don't have a practice of this anyways, giving yourself 1 to 2 hours a week that you intentionally use to educate yourself or do something that allows you to move forward with a version of you than where you're currently at. This is a lifelong process that when you decide you're ready to invest in you and truly continue to level up, you're going to want to do this, whether it's with GTV or not. You're going to want to give yourself permission to actually read books, listen to webinars, attend different trainings that allow you to keep leveling up on your skills. So if you're recognizing like, yes, you're awesome, you're amazing right now, but you'd like to get to another version of what that can look like, or you find yourself in a space where you're like, I know I'm great, but I am not accessing it and it hurts and it's all horrible. Either one of those two spaces can give you NGTV. We can help you pinpoint and get right to, okay, what's it looking like with your money? What's it looking like with limiting beliefs? How are we going to start creating the circles or influences that we need to get to this next level? And then looking at our body as we're looking at mind, body, and self, what's happening with our physical body that would either support us or be a barrier towards actually accomplishing our greater self? And how are we going to create a routine that supports our physical health so that it does support our mental health and it does support what we're creating and the goals that we're setting? When we get into self, that's just a further deep dive into self-care, self-maintenance, self-soothing, and knowing when and how to transition so that you are continuously feeding yourself the things that you need, whether it is through additional trainings, it is through some other types of supports, but you have a good schedule of how you go about taking care of the business of you, being the CEO of your life, so that you find yourself more consistently being able to process through things faster, finding your silver linings quicker, and being able to embody and reclaim that greatest version of yourself that you've had a glimpse of and totally are aware is possible. So if you are interested or have any questions for the next couple of days, for sure, feel free to text me or send me an email. The text number is 626-722-5661. Those will be dropped in the chats too. Also, you can check out my links and you'll see that number also posted there, especially on Instagram. It's like, boom, right at you. Feel free to text, ask questions. If you aren't signed up for our email list, I have been dropping some special deals and hints in there, i.e. signing up for GTV right now is truly at more than 50% off. And I'm giving you access to the Reclamation Retreat, the Your Brilliant Life 2023 Reclamation Retreat for free as an appreciation for you really giving yourself permission to show up and show out. And there may be some other bonuses in there. I believe I was going to consider doing a raffle, but I definitely haven't figured out how best to go about that. So I'm open to suggestions of what would be a good way to go about doing a raffle, like maybe having people answer some questions about what we've been talking about in our tea talks, not sure, or submitting their awesome version of what. I'm going to think about that a little bit more. I'm totally open to suggestions, but I'd love to be able to support somebody else that maybe isn't in a space where they believe financially they can do it, which finances should never be a barrier, a reality test, but not a barrier. Hence, I do have payment plans. So there's that component. If you're looking at your time, again, if you aren't in a space where you can give yourself 1 to 2 hours a week, you're probably also not in a space where you're going to be able to get to this next level of what you're looking for without experiencing intense burnout either. Finances, like I said, there's payment options. And if there's really some other need, like by all means, text and let's set up a call and like really explore how I can best support you. What else? I mean, you've spent all this money on like your degrees at this point, and you didn't even know for sure if you were going to finish, and then you did, and it's like, oh, cool. Further investments are definitely going to be less than those degrees, but totally more enhancing as it allows you to continue to move forward. And due to our time, if you've got any questions, thoughts, or concerns, do feel free to drop it in the chats, and I'll totally address those at a later point in time. But to be respectful of your time, I know that we are less than 60 seconds away from concluding today's tea talk, and I thank you so much for spending time with me. Again, our current events, 12/18, we are doing the Reclamation Retreat. It is a virtual retreat. If you're interested in being in person, pretty much just text me for whatever you got going on, and then you'll totally be able to access what you're needing. Have an amazing day. I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday, as well as seeing you at the Reclamation Retreat. If you aren't also going to be showing up for this next GTV cohort, FYI, 2022 rates are not 2023 rates. So I'd hate for you to miss out and all these extra bonuses. Well, have an amazing day. It's been awesome. Thank you again for your time. I will see you all later.